2024 has been a bright spot in the timeline of Argentinian rugby. The 2024 Rugby Championship put the world on notice that Los Pumas have stamped themselves as rugby superpowers after achieving the rare feat of beating South Africa, New Zealand and Australia in one cycle. They decided they wanted to win, and they did. And the Los Pumas' new game plan is scary. An achievement only repeated by two other nations, the Great England 2003 team and more recently Ireland. What's more impressive here is Argentina accomplished this in a matter of weeks, unheard of, and in the process broke multiple records. More on that later.
I can see a guy kicking the face of one of my men.
Okay.
It's not respect.
Yeah.
I'm playing for my country.
I understand that.
Respect.
Argentina have always been a formidable side. Brute strength, matching aggression and physicality. So, in a sense, a one-trick pony. Well, you have to be special to beat All Blacks, Springboks and Wallabies, owners of 9 of the 10 World Cups, and beat them in a 6-week window. So what changed? I'm glad you asked. Let's unpack. Now, before we go any further, please like and subscribe. It really helps out our channel. Argentina kicked off their Triple Crown win with a trip to Wellington's Cake Tin to face off the All Blacks. The playing conditions were so perfect that there were no spilled balls or dropped passes, resulting in the first scrum being at the 60-minute mark. However, perfect weather or not, Wellington once again proved the nightmare ground for the All Blacks. Out of the last 8 tests, they've only won twice. With a crazy 75% loss record, one would think New Zealand Rugby would totally skip Wellington as a test venue. Wake up, guys! Although the hosts were given a 17-point advantage by the bookies, rookie coach Filipe Contepomi and his charges refused to be intimidated by the local media. Early on, Los Pumas were down 10-0. Rookie Sam Darry opened the New Zealand account with an opportunistic try from an 80-metre All Black breakout, with backline play from D-Mac and Bowden Barrett. Oddly enough, the Argentinians also trailed early in both the Wallabies and Springboks matchups as well. Could this be their kryptonite? Said one sports writer, it was as if the Argentinians were still in the changing room. But, as in all the games, the Pumas slowly clawed their way back in, and in this game, soon put a stop order on the All Blacks. At halftime, the Blues and Whites trailed 20-15. In their previous 2 wins over the All Blacks, the South Americans managed only 1 try apiece. But in this game, Contepomi's coaching philosophy was clear to be seen as they ran in 4 tries, leading to a record-breaking 38 points. You see, this was the highest score a test side has ever put over the All Blacks in New Zealand. Having a couple of 6'6", 260-pounders in the forwards, the big argy-bargy collisions helped their cause immensely. One reporter called them very bomb squad-like, which is sure to annoy many Safa fans worldwide. A quick thinking line-out play 5 metres out resulted in a Molina try. Molina is a showpiece of the quality of South American domestic system, playing for local club Dogos. Fellow giants Oviedo and Efrain Elias combined for another try. Since former Leinster man Contepomi has joined the team, the normally forward-reliant Argentinians have run, ball in hand, 100 metres more than before, which was clearly seen in this game.
My experience of Argentina has always been the passion, but now it looks as though there's way more to it. There's not that reliance on playing with pure passion, that there's this incredible skill set, there's very clear rugby knowledge, there's big physical athletes. It looks like you're piecing it all together nicely.
Now, if you think they were just all attack, defensively from the 60-minute mark, Los Pumas locked up the All Blacks' offensive system to 0 points, a feat not easy to copy. A 3rd win in 4 years over the mighty All Blacks, this Argentinian team has evolved to elite level. The replay 7 days later, you ask, at Eden Park. Well, you know, no one wins at Eden Park. What is it now? 50 tests in a row? If Argentina stunned World Rugby with their record-breaking demolition job of New Zealand, they doubled down on this display with another record-breaking performance. This time it was the Wallabies, amassing a whopping 67 points over the Aussies. Yeah, you heard that right, 67 points. This was Australia's worst ever defeat. The last time they got this type of scoreline was about 30 years ago. As we found out previously, this new model of Los Pumas is a major player in world rugby, and the sellout Santa Fe crowd had just witnessed history. What's even more amazing is, in the early part of the game, Argentina were down 17. So how were they able to recover? Well, it all started with a try-scoring machine by on top 14 winger Mateo Carreras in the 30th minute. Yes, this got them back into the game, but what followed was something no one could have predicted. Like the All Blacks game, the Argentinians found themselves trailing 20 points to 3 early on. Hitman Marcus Kremer had a try disallowed, but this didn't discourage the Pumas, who were showing a new level of self-discipline and maturity. With the introduction of Irish cult hero Contepomi, the natural strength of passion and brute was balanced out with a new level of intellectual play. Now, just like the New Zealand game, they fought their way back to a 2017 halftime score. A Mateo Carreras try was the result of some great Los Pumas enterprise involving fullback Juan Cruz Malia, line-out throw to himself, which started a series of plays leading up to that try. Other standouts were Montoya, who celebrated his 100th cap with a 5-pointer, and also first 5/8 Thomas Albornoz. Australian rugby vlogger Wildcard said he had his reservations about Albornoz. However, the opinionated Wildcard admitted that the inside back had a major influence on the game, like the big defensive play stopping flying Fijian Marika Corabetti, and also high efficiency with his boots. Los Pumas ran in an embarrassing 7 tries in the second half. Australian Rugby Show, Kickoffs and Kick-Ons, was stunned by how quickly the score moved from 41 to 67.
With 10 minutes to go, it was 41-27, Goit, and on our WhatsApp, you put up, right, we can still tie this. Like, we can...
Yep.
And then it went from 41 to 67.
On the 80th minute, Silky centre Lucio Cinti deservedly scored the final try with a deft pickup from his bootlaces 10 metres out. Wallabies coach Joe Schmidt said, "To lead a match 20 points to 3 and let a game get away from us like that is disappointing. Australia fell off a cliff. You don't say." This was a monumental occasion for a magical side. Despite this second major victory, surely a win against the world champion Springboks was too much to ask. Would the Cinderella fairy tale end here? Well, stick around to find out. Argentina had toppled 2 of rugby's all-time great nations and now had one target left in their scope. The mighty Springboks were ready to quell any thoughts of rebellion by the Pumas. Unsurprisingly, first signs were favourable to the Boks with an early 17-0 lead. The hot and humid conditions result in an almost scrappy type game, which we all know suits Los Pumas just fine. Like the Wallabies game, the Blue and Whites were put under pressure and were quickly facing a deficit. Pumas captain Montoya admitted that he was worried about the 17-point gap, but he told his brothers to remain focused and trust the systems. In the previous games, the Pumas showed mental discipline and clawed their way back. It was no different this time, with a combination of tactics and power, saw Chocobares breaking Van Staden's defensive line to set up a Mateo Carreras try. Chocobares proved to be a handful to the Springboks midfield defence. 2 quick back-to-back tries, Carreras setting up Matera down the left flank with a forward drive line-out try to Joel Sclavy. A clever try to Albornoz resulted when he was able to run around big man Malcolm Marks. Number 10, Albornoz, has been tearing up the URC for the last 18 months and was not overawed by the test match, as he's familiar with playing against the Springbok players week in, week out. And he's not the only Los Pumas to play in the URC, like Zebra utility Prisciantelli. For more about the URC, check out our video, link in the description down below. The trademark bomb squad move, patented by the great Rusty Erasmus, wasn't enough for the Springboks to kill the game at the death. This was because the Argentinians themselves had the strength, power and resolve through their own big men to absorb any late night bomb squad pressure, which was obviously a part of Contepomi's game plan from the start. While the Springbok scrum was in dangerous form, Malcolm Marks struggled at the line-outs with his put-ins. Outrageously, the Argentinians had to make 158 tackles to South Africa's 73. Highlighting Argentina's game plan, which was to put on a defensive masterclass system or at least die trying. Lucio Cinti topped the tackling department with 16 tackles of his own. Amazingly, giant strongman and defensive specialist Marcus Kremer got away with only 5 tackles because the South Africans avoided the one-on-one contact with him. Now, this game would have been put under the microscope by rival teams all over the world as a blueprint on how to defeat Rassie Erasmus and his 2-time Rugby World Cup champion team. Then you had Chocobares just tearing up the box central defence throughout the game with his inside half Albornoz, who could step off either foot, causing the box defensive issues, which resulted in Rassie subbing off Pollard for Libbok. This substitution resulted in what could be termed the loss for the Springboks, as Libbok had fluffed an easy kick that would have won the game. Chances are, if Pollard was still on the field, the kick would be good. For the Pumas, it was an ugly and desperate win. Although the Springbok front row dominated, it was Argentina's impressive back 5, combining intellect and brute, that was a game changer. This was another trump card played by coach Contepomi, with Lavanini, 6'7", 260 pounds, youngster Efrain Elias, 6'7", 260 pounds, Molina, 6'6", 240 pounds, showed the way to match up the Springboks with equal size and power. This is a testament to the great work that Argentina Rugby is doing. A historic win by Los Pumas in Santiago against the might of the Springboks sent the crazed Argentinian fans into shouts of triumph at their new stadium. It was a war of a game with high kicks, decimating scrums and midfield bursts. I'm sure in the coming season we'll be hearing a lot more from Los Pumas. Now, thanks for watching. Please remember to leave us a comment with your thoughts about Argentina, like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.